Hi everybody, Megan here with another set of life lessons that we can use to get through our everyday lives. This time I've put together 5 life lessons that we can all learn from Tim Burton movies. So pick up your pencils and put down your lunchbox, class is in session. Number 5, treasure the ones you can truly trust. Tim Burton's films have crossed over many genres and eras, covering classic tales dating back to the 1700s and 1800s, to futuristic adventures, and even more than once taking a look at the mysterious happenings in the afterlife. But even with such a diverse library of stories and ideas, he repeatedly returns to the people he can trust, and has them join him in the making of his films. Whether it's calling on Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, and others in many various roles, or his reliance on people like Danny Elfman to create the perfect musical backdrop, or even sometimes lending his own beautiful voice. Burton shows that it's best to keep a tight group of people around you and will always be there for you when you need them. Tim Burton obviously understands this, and he realizes it's better to rely on your inner circle than to branch out just for the hell of it. When you find someone or something that works and clicks with you, hang on to that and make the most of it. Number 4, you always hurt the ones you love. Continuing on with the idea of keeping the people you trust closest to you, it also needs to be noted that sometimes you just can't help but hurt the ones that you love. Much like the hellacious headaches that people like Ed Wood, Jack Skellington, and Willy Wonka would inflict on all those people they worked closely with. Burton, too, could be known to put his closest confidants through the same shit, either due to his peculiar demands, rigorous quest for perfection, or sometimes just being a bit of a devilish bastard. Have you ever noticed how many times he set Helena Bonham Carter on fire in his movies? Something tells me those were written after a couple fights back at home. That is one hell of a way to get revenge on your spouse. But ultimately, that's what happens when you work closely with those that are close to you. I mean, just look at me. I've been working with my 2 friends at Geeking Poetic for years now. Now, while there were times I did things, or I put them through things that may have been a little painful, or embarrassing, or just downright hilariously brutal, I mean, of course it was done with the utmost love and respect for my cohorts. And never because I just enjoy watching them go through hell for my pleasure. No, I really mean it. Number 3, don't discard an imaginative idea. So we know Tim Burton has had some amazing success with many of his stories and characters he's created over the years. From Frankenweenie to Beetlejuice to EDWARD SCISSORHANDS and so on, he's created some of the most beloved and memorable characters in the movie universe. But what you may not realize is that many of these ideas didn't come to him overnight. And somewhat surprisingly, he didn't think they'd be a big success or even worth pursuing. From an early age, Burton has been creating these odd characters from his overactive imagination, sketching them out just for fun, or simply just needing to get them out of his head, and then onto paper for posterity. Many who saw his work thought it was too strange, too different, and not commercial enough to even bother with. At the start of his career, he tried to bring these characters to his bosses at Disney. And not only did they not get it, they even fired him for wasting their time. Well, luckily for us, regardless of their negative backlash, Burton went on to create some of the most imaginative and unique stories of the 20th century and beyond. And many of those stories came from the ideas he sketched out when he was young. This just goes to show that if you come up with a truly unique idea, don't just discard it because other people don't get it, or because it just all seems like an impossible dream. When the time is right, these ideas will have their time to shine. See, Disney? Not every success has to be stupid Toy Story or Frozen. I guess you guys were the big dummies to let it go. Ugh. Number 2, don't be scared to add your own flair. To say that Tim Burton has his own unique style is an understatement. Right from the start, his taste for the unusual and abstract was clearly evident, especially with how he creates his characters and his backgrounds, and even how he tells people how to move and speak. Burton's never afraid to not only stand behind his own creation and tales, but he's also got the courage to take well-known classics and put his own flair on them. He could give you something new and different, but make it feel familiar. But at the same time, he could take something that's familiar and make it new and different. It takes a particular kind of courage and determination and belief in yourself to be able to pull that off. But over and over again, he's shown that it can be done. And while underneath it all, his stories tend to touch on the same kind of themes we see in all the other stories, such as love, loss, friendship, family, courage. Burton manages to service all these familiar tropes in a way that comes off fresh and interesting. Not to mention, completely unique to his own personal style. So no matter how odd or different you feel that you are compared to everybody else out there, don't let that hold you back from using it to your advantage. You might create something really cool and special. Number 1, just because you're weird doesn't mean you're not a winner. I think it's safe to say that the prevailing theme throughout Tim Burton's movies is the story of lovable losers. Those people who are initially made to feel like outcasts, oddballs, and weirdos, but they ultimately end up being the hero or the heroine that triumph in the end. And while it doesn't always end up having the perfect fairy tale ending, inevitably these characters prove to everyone that just because they look odd or stand out from the crowd, it doesn't mean that they're not worthy of love and admiration. Burton shows us that you don't just have to conform to the norm. Because honestly, that rarely works out in the end anyhow. Let your true colors show through and let your freak flag fly. Too many people just judge a book by its cover and assume the worst. Just like many folks did to Burton himself early in his career. And I think it's safe to say that his massive success as an artist, director, and creator proves that even the most unusual characters can be the most successful, and are revered when they stay true to themselves and stand against the doubters. Stay strong and fight back, Gothic nerds! Well, class, that about does it for this batch of life lessons. I hope you found something that was valuable and good that you could take away with you for your day-to-day life. It's not always easy being a geek, but stay strong and diligent and you can be a success too. On that note, class dismissed, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.